It's a sacred journey to a sacred place with a sacred intention. It's not just going somewhere to take classes or as a tourist. You're going with other people, which are the band of pilgrims, and your sacred intention and your sacred purpose is what binds you together. There's always prayer and reflection and ceremony involved, and you go to a place that's spiritually important to deepen your own understanding and faith, to give of your gifts to the people you're with and to the place to which you go, to rededicate yourself, to get new insights. All of those are spiritual purposes. And then to come back ready to share the fruits of your experience with others in a way that's helpful and enlivening. We've done this at Unity Church on the Lake Shore because we believed it would be a very important way to create strong bonds between members, to gift our presence to Unity and to receive the wonderful gifts of Unity Village and the faculty and the classes and all that they have to offer, and so create a strong connection between this congregation and Unity Village, the headquarters.
Well, the pilgrimage was important to me initially because I had been to Unity Village, but not in that sense, just to visit. And when my partner came back from the first pilgrimage that they did here at Unity on the Lake Shore, I was impressed with the changes that I saw in her. And so the next year when I was able to go, I, of course, signed up. Well, it feels like such a sacred place with the history of Charles and Myrtle and their founding of Unity. And my initial visit, I had gone downtown to some of the early places and where Myrtle had done some of her writings, and that was pretty exciting. But then to take classes and to go with such a large group of people from this congregation just created such a sense of bonding and understanding of what other people are doing in their lives, and learning so much more about them and being able to share something of myself with them. To me, the pilgrimage was a chance to bond with people from the church that I attend here, and to meet other people from other churches, and to find my own sense of purpose in this congregation and in my own life.
It brings in such a unity, not just the unity principles, but just the camaraderie between each other. You get to really know each other more. And when you bring that back to your church, then you want to share that with the people that didn't go. And then they share it with others. And, you know, it's just a multiplying thing. It just keeps going out there. It's an experience that's very hard to put into words. But once you're there, you'll definitely be going back.
Well, I was thrilled to see Unity Village after having heard about it for years. The history is fabulous. I think the opportunity of listening is clearer than anything I've ever heard. I spent a week listening to all kinds of signs. I saw animals I didn't see, or I became more aware of animals that I hadn't seen. When I walked the labyrinth, there were 12 birds that flew overhead. And the sense of community, both within the groups that come and outside, and everybody has something to teach you. It was just very, very cool. I loved it all. Pilgrimage is important because we need to step out of our boundaries, and we go to church every Sunday and we see people. We have some people that we communicate with between, but when you spend a week with somebody, particularly driving down, we had 3 cars, we're switching, everybody had to get to know everybody, but you actually do because there's nothing else to do. And so you begin to get to know each other, and then you meld a group and you bring that sense and feeling of enjoyment, and you're ecstatic about your whatever's happened while you're there, and you bring that back to the church, and I think it revives that spirit that we all know, but we don't all have a chance to feel together. And I think the larger the group, the better, personally. I know that when we were in the lunch area, which is mostly where people met between classes because everybody was doing different things, it was really fun to see our group of 17 people back there again and what they learned, and what they were doing, and what they were into. And everybody's into something different, so you had a chance to talk to people about animals, you had a chance to talk to people about what did you see when you walked over there, or did you notice this tree, or gee, have you been over to see where Mildred's garden is? And the one thing that everybody has to do when they're there is eat the oatmeal pie, oatmeal coconut. And I tried to get that recipe, but nobody wanted to give it to me. I couldn't find it.
Well, I loved it. I've gone 3 times, and I intend to go as many times as I can. It's just an exhilarating, fun, thoughtful, and just filled with spirit and love experience. And I saw old friends, and I learned, I stretched myself. I've learned so much, and it's fun to learn about the founding mother and father of Unity. I was new to this church the first time I went, and I made such close, deep, sincere friends with my first experience. And I think that's almost vital for a church nowadays, to get to know each other deeply, because especially Unity Church is people that are seeking, and they're adventurous, and they're sort of on the edge, and sometimes that can bring some not so nice things. But we have, because of the pilgrimage experience, we've built these relationships that can withstand anything, and we can sit down and, like Obama says, and talk it out till there's an agreement. And I really appreciate that part of it.
Even though I'm a very open and connected person, I did not feel as connected with this congregation as I would have liked to have been. I think that was part of my reason in deciding to go along with the pilgrimage in the first place. But after having been there, I had absolutely no idea that I was going to come away with it with as much as I come away with it. And I think the most important thing for me in the pilgrimage is I not only learned much more about the people in the congregation, personal things about them, but I was told things about myself. People saw things in me that and verbalized that with me. I think I got more hugs from the people in this congregation that I went with, and I was just almost puzzled, you know, and they kept saying, "Oh my goodness, you are such a loving person," and I'm like, well, isn't everybody? You know? But I came away feeling so different about myself. I grew at Unity Village in leaps and bounds. I think the great deal of it was the meditation time. The environment at Unity Village is just conducive to that sort of thing, because you in some respects you pull into yourself in a very healthy way, and you become more introspective, and I think at the same time you view things around you more clearly and differently than you do outside of there. And I think it's partly because when you go to, you know, that sort of an environment, a special place, especially as a pilgrimage with a group of other people who are going there, you know, from your church, you just enter into a space that shuts out the world for a short while and allows you to really focus on developing yourself. And I believe I came back to this church, and everybody that went came back to this church with more to give to each other. I think every time you do something that increases the congregation's spiritual growth, you are increasing that spiritual growth in your church. So it's beyond personal connection with everybody. It increases all of the connectedness that helps us all grow spiritually.
Got down there and right away was struck by the beauty of the grounds, the buildings, the fabulous artwork. It's rolling green and trees, and we were there in the fall, so there were leaves and little cabins that we stayed in, kind of quaint and not modern or anything.